rather watch ridiculousness than watch Racing Wives.
I don't know, man. I watched that first episode of Racing Wives, and it was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it drew me right in with its realness. It was very real.
That's real. You know what else is real? This podcast. Welcome, everyone, to the Flashback to the Track podcast. Realer than tax season, because that's kind of the season we're in right now.
Did you file your taxes yet?
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, same. I already paid mine, so we're good to go.
As always, I'm James. That's Mark. And we're always presented to you by the wonderful people at Blue Emu, providing you with maximum strength pain relief for tired muscles, joints. It works fast. You won't stink. And you know what? They're an official partner of NASCAR and Major League Baseball. So you know what, Mark? That means they're too legit to quit, all right? I mean, if I said to you, it's like, oh, don't worry, Mark. It's okay. I'm an official partner of Major League Baseball. Probably like, oh, sir, you must know what you're doing. It's true. Be on your merry way.
It's true. You know, it was just opening day, so the timing is perfect. We've got NASCAR going on. We got baseball going on. Blue Emu's helping people. And you know what? Check out the Blue Emu social accounts. Follow at Blue Emu1. James was doing some really cool content with Blue Emu, and go check that out. So,
anyways, so this week, we got some interesting content to look at, some behind the scenes content, because, you know, we went behind the scenes with us. So we want to showcase our lives like it's the Kardashians or something, right, Mark? You know, we always have to get on this reality show market whenever you get the opportunity to.
I like learning. I have this obsession with learning how things are made. You know what I mean? Like this obsession with like, I want to know all the ins and outs. Like I'll sit in a restaurant and be like, what shifts they work in the back. Do you think they do like 8s or 10s? Like, I don't know. I'm just really nosy like that. I like to know how things work. So these behind the scenes shows are always great. And James, what behind the scenes show are we looking at? This is a classic. I'm very excited.
Oh, it's a classic because it's called NBS 24/7. Yeah, that's right. You thought we were going to look into Robin Big. Viacom would sue us. And I don't care about being sued by Viacom. So we're going to check out NBS 24/7, a reality show that's looked into the NASCAR Busch series. That's the NBS. And it followed them 24/7. So even when the cameras
sleep.
Yeah, watch them sleep. When the cameras stopped rolling at the track, the NBS 24/7 cameras kept rolling at the shop and at their houses too, which is creepy. You do get to see some people at their homes. So, you know, hopefully we didn't get to see a street view. You know, that would be really, really creepy.
Always wondered what that's like. We're going to come to your house this afternoon, and you and your wife just act normal, and we'll film it. Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's like there's definitely like plot lines within there. Like, you know, you have to act like this or like, you know, and you're definitely going to
something going on. It's like, what are you doing this afternoon? You're like remodeling or something? Like you're doing something interesting that we can film?
Yeah, I think that's another thing too. It's like, you know, just don't show up, but what was it? I think Kevin Harvick always did it best on NASCAR Drivers 360. Like he just didn't care. I think like the first episode you're introduced to Kevin on camera, like he is in his underwear in bed. And I think Delena's trying to wake him up because the film crew showed up and woke them up. Like just raw. And I'm like, and then Kevin just didn't care. I'm like, that's how you treat it. You just treat it like it's
you want realism. This is real. This is how
me and my boxers work. Yeah, realism, like Robbie Gordon's sitting in his sink and he had to tell us that he broke his ankle, and we're like, well, sorry,
he's got 2 cell phones. Yeah,
he looked like he was like just balling right there with the 2 cell phones. Like he was like, he had Red Bull on one line, and then he had like John Menard on the other, just trying to make plans either to go to the Dakar, the Baja 1000, or trying to make the Daytona 500, Indy 500, you know, combo. Just mogul.
I respect 2 cell phones. I used to have 2 cell phones back in the day.
But, you know, it's easier for them to trace you with 2 cell phones. So
it is.
And, you know, that's double the work to get rid of them, because then you have to break 2 cell phones. And
if your work offers you a second cell phone, say no. Just put your work stuff on your personal phone. Carrying 2 phones sucks.
I do wish we were able to have cell phones in this era, though, because they had that Nextel Direct Connect walkie-talkie.
Yes, yeah, yes, like, and you see them use it in this show.
And that all the
sound. I'll put the sound in. Yeah, that's that sound
of it, but that's not it. But yeah, I just always loved that. Because that seemed like such a cool way to talk to people. You just like walkie-talkie them, But now we have texting, and we have so many different ways to text. It doesn't seem viable, but I would have liked to have owned one of those phones because it would have been really cool. And just how much it was shoved down our throats, Mark. Like any chance like a driver was getting interviewed, they're like, yeah, I'm on my Nextel Direct Connect walkie-talkie.
Faster than Xfinity internet. Come on.
Yeah.
You know,
Kenny
it's
Wallace
like
would always use his. It's faster than any internet. Like, geez, it was so instantaneous, like how quickly someone would get like a response. And it was always on camera too. They're always like, oh, hold on, let me show you. Hey, what's going on? Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm like,
I remember seeing someone using one of those like outside of Meyer in Michigan one time, and I was blown away. I was like, wow, those actually exist. Like somebody was actually using one.
And that was back in the day when there's like 10 different providers. Like, oh, I can have Alltel or Singular, or maybe I can have Nextel. And like, yeah, now it's like 3, and everyone either has an iPhone or I don't know. What is the other option besides an iPhone? For
Android phones, like your Samsung. My wife has a Samsung, and I make fun of her constantly.
I know the OnePlus One was a pretty cool phone, and that's an Android one. But
yeah, there's Google phones too. I had an LG phone for a while.
Google phones were pretty fire for a bit.
They were pretty cool, yeah, and like because they had like the way they worked with the box, it was different. Their operating system was different,
and the service was
just
better
all
too,
about.
Because
I'm
they had
a slave to Apple now, so.
I mean, it just works better with the computer. So
AirDrop.
It's the way of the future.
Best thing ever. But this show,
it's not the future. It's in the past.
No, it's in the past.
And in the past, Mark, Speed Channel had, I don't know, felt like 24-hour blocks of NASCAR content.
You could just put the Speed Channel on anytime, and there'd be something interesting on, something about NASCAR. So, yeah, this show was really back when they were just pumping content out like crazy. And the show ran 3 seasons from 04 to 06. And it was 2 full seasons. 06 was only half a year. But it was actually created to replace this show that didn't work out called Inside NBS. I've never seen that show. I don't know if you have.
I've heard of it. And I guess it's basically like what they were trying to do was Inside NASCAR or Inside Nextel Cup, excuse me, which was also Inside Winston Cup. So the panel show, which was a Monday roundtable. And at this time period, it would be hosted by Alan Bestwick. And then you had a panel of drivers. Some would rotate, but the normal panel was like Michael Waltrip, Johnny Benson, Kenny Schrader. That was the glue or foundation group. And they would go and recap the Winston Cup weekend or Nextel Cup weekend, but they'd also touch on like the trucks and the Busch series. Yep. So, I guess at the time, try to have more coverage of the Busch series. So have an insider show for like an hour. I'd say that was the block for 45 minutes with commercials.
Mm-hmm. And it was, it was an interesting piece for them to try and to figure out how to do it. It ended up being a half-hour show, and it featured several different race teams. So 04 and 05 feature Fitz-Bradshaw Racing, Braun Racing, and Aikens Motorsport. We're going to look at 2 episodes. Neither of them feature Aikens Motorsport. So
get out of here, Aikens.
They're in later episodes and earlier episodes. It's basically who's got the best storylines. They're featured in the episodes. And then season 3 in 06 was really interesting because it was like NBS 24/7, the rookies. It was rebranded, and it featured rookies from all these different teams, but still kind of followed Fitz-Bradshaw and Braun Racing closely. But then
they had a rotating cast of rookies that year.
Yeah, Bernie Lamar and Danny O'Quinn Jr. and Todd Cleaver.
Didn't they have Paul Wolf too that year?
No, he would have driven for them in 05, I think.
I think it was in Evernham that year, yeah.
Yeah, and it was an interesting show because there was a mad rookie class in 06. It was a ridiculous amount of people, but it didn't feature John Andretti, who was a rookie technically.
That's the real rookie you got to know about.
Disrespect John Andretti that way.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's why that's why I got canceled, because it didn't really show John Andretti, and the fans boycotted.
Yeah, midway through 06, it was let go. But
don't cross NASCAR fans. It's some foreshadowing. Never cross a NASCAR fan. You know what season it is, Mark?
No, James. What season is it?
It's maximum pain relief season. That's what season it is.
Is that not every season when you have Blue Emu?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe we should stop trying to sell this to people and just start being straight. I guess pain always comes around when you least expect it, bro. So there is no season for it. So why not just try to use Blue Emu, man? It's like really good because first off, I don't know about you, I always like to use the Blue Emu Maximum pain relief. That stuff is, first off, works wonders. Second off, comes in a little tube, man. That tube, like I can throw it anywhere I want, like little backpack some, have maximum pain relief wherever I need it. Because that's where I feel like pain hits me. Like when I'm out away from the house and, you know, you're not in your bathroom where you have your stuff in your little cubby, your medicine cabinet. So it's nice to have the Max on the go with you whenever you need it.
That's the thing. It's portable, fits right in there. Like you said, the tube is the way to go. Fits right in the pouch. Oh my God. I take it everywhere with me, man. My Blue Emu goes with me everywhere I go. When we're at the racetrack, it's good to have Blue Emu. Get the spray so you can offer it to other people. If they're not feeling, just spray a little on for them. Oh my God.
Yeah, because like I don't want to be weird and like rub Blue Emu on. I don't want you to have to like squeeze my stuff. Just like, hey bro, spray yourself down real quick. It's like, you know, if you've got a spray sunscreen, it's kind of like you feel generous almost. You're like, oh, come on, you don't want some pain relief? Here you go. I'm offering it to you. It's free.
Buy Blue Emu.
But yeah, so there was a speed executive behind this, Rick Miner. He was the guy who was really pushing for this kind of reality show series to be like a reality, if you want to say it like that. So, Mark, with the term reality show, what was the time period that you were really introduced to a reality show? Was it around this? Was this like your first exposure to it? Do you remember like something more scripted or?
Well, I would have seen things like Survivor, shows like that, you know, that were game shows, but they were reality shows, technically. Lots of people living on an island. I had a professor in college who was shot Survivor for 4 years, actually. So that's kind of why I first like went there. But you know, The Apprentice, shows like that I always watched, but I never watched like The Real World, or I never watched like you know, what are some of the other ones, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians? I never watched any of those reality shows. Like, you know, it was like whatever my mom was watching, you know, really. So that was back when like I didn't have a TV in my room. Y'all had to agree on a program, so in the main room. So, you know.
Yeah, I remember like there's like always like you have basic reality shows like, you know, Kardashians, something like that, where it's just like following people. And then you have like competition reality shows where like you have something stupid like Rock of Love or Survivor, which is a little more extraneous. The Bachelor. Oh man. So like you have like those kinds of shows. And then you have I would put like this kind of reality show in its own thing because it doesn't feel scripted, but I don't really know what to say. It doesn't seem like it's just following them, you know. It's weird. It's kind of this weird in between.
You got to poke people a little bit, right? And get some interesting content out of it.
Yeah.
Is really the thing. You know, you can't just follow people and hope interesting stuff happens. You kind of have to, like I said, like we said before, you got to set stuff up, right? It's like, okay, so what are you doing on your vacation? Where can we bring the cameras that'll be interesting, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like you see the when the cameras are at the shop, I feel like that's some of the most interesting stuff because hearing from the guys at the shop, they're very very candid. They're very like you know, not necessarily, not to say that they're not used to having a camera in front of their face, but the camera isn't normally on them. So it's nice to kind of hear a different voice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And the big thing too about this show is a very quick turnaround. This aired Monday night after the race weekend. So they would have been editing this throughout the week, putting it together, and then boom, Monday night, this would go out. So
well, that's why you only saw the one cool graphic at the beginning. Like you didn't see any other like cool things. It was very, you know, raw with its kind of form. You even see what the kind of the footage that it's used, little shaky cameras, you know, kind of C-roll third camera, but gets the job done, man. It's a good show.
That's
good
the thing.
turnout.
It never pulls you out of it. You're never like, oh, that camera doesn't look very good.
Though it does leave you on the suspenseful side, man, like with the editing. You know, how it kind of ends on a cliffhanger every episode. So they try to do that cliche of reality television, you know, it's in there.
Well, we got to get you coming back, right?
Yeah, you got to get a little taste. So in these two episodes, the two teams we're going to talk about specifically were Fitz-Bradshaw and Braun Racing. So what we'll do is we'll kind of look at one team first and, you know, look at their weekend and discuss what we see from them on the episode. And then we'll talk about the other team. So for this first episode, we're going to look at two episodes. So two-parter. First episode is going to be Nashville. The Nashville Super Speedway.
2005. Sorry, where's what we're looking at? 2005.
Yeah, we're looking at the 2005 season of this, not 2004 or 2006. So right in the middle. And these episodes exist. You can find them on YouTube. I think there's a playlist too with NBS 24/7 episodes, and it is on that playlist too. You can check it out. So the Nashville episode from 2005, we're going to look at Fitz-Bradshaw racing. And it starts at the previous race in Atlanta. And since Fitz-Bradshaw at this time has 3 cars, they really kind of focus on one team's weekend. They highlight what happens throughout the organization, but they're really focused more on one team. And this weekend, they were focused on the 40 team, which had a very interesting weekend because, Mark, I know you love when drama happens, but this was good drama. When, like, Reed Sorensen's transmission goes out in qualifying and basically he's got to jump in the 40 car to get points. Dude, that's a big favor. But, you know, you got to love that technical alliance, too, that you have with a big team.
That's the thing, right? So, like, you know, they're aligned with Ganassi, getting engines and technical support from Ganassi, and Ganassi's driver doesn't make the field, calls his satellite team and says, can we put Reed Sorensen in the car? And who is the driver of that car normally? Sterling Marlin.
Yep.
Who's a Ganassi driver. So we can tell him that, you know what, Sterling, why don't you just chill today and Reed will drive your car. And there you go. And Reed finished 19th and maintained his 4th place position in the points.
The two biggest thing to juggle in that scenario was the guy from Janiking for saying yes. And then second, how many other, you know, discount tire decals can we put on the car that's already decaled? I love that when
he's got the decals. I'll just put this one on.
There's everything's fighting for space. Like, I have to find a photo of that car from that race because that must have been something. But also, you know, kudos to the team too, because they had to do some interior work on the car, you know, a little bit of padding here and there, and probably had to change out the drink unit for Reed, but it seemed like they got everything done. So it covers them. And then we go back to the shop, and at the shop, you know, it's cool. We get to see the shop side, but honestly, I'll be straight. We don't get to see the cool shop side this time. We get to see the boring office corporate side of racing. And I say that maybe it's because I work in it. I'm sorry if I don't make it sound more glamorous than it is, but it's just not at times. It's very, very boring. And this is just a very boring checklist, you know, procedure, you know, going through and making sure that they had all these props for a photo shoot, which is very interesting. I didn't think the team would have to be in charge of that, but I guess since they have the space, why not be in charge of that? So glamorous, Mark. What a job to have in racing.
Yeah, you know, those are the things they don't show you. The putting the promotional items in the tote bags for the giveaway at the event, you know, the glamorous side of auto racing, you know.
Sitting on lawnmowers.
Well, that's the stuff that pays for the racing. Those are the important things. Those are the things that pay for it. The photo shoots, all of that, you know, they're a necessary evil.
Yeah, and you know, it's protocol, it's procedure. Everything's got to be organized. You got to have lists for things, and you know, even to the office stuff, it's kind of boring. But you know, we got to make the sponsor look good, and that also makes the driver look good. Because afterwards, Tim Feedable went to Supercuts. See what I did there? Everyone looking good. Yeah, he got a fresh new look for this photo shoot. Oh man. Do you think Tim Feedable ever looks back at this and he's like, man, I wish that hairstylist didn't compare me to Bon Jovi? Or like,
yeah, the frosted tips, man.
Oh, that's such a look at the
Zach
time.
Morris, like,
and the bangs. No offense, Tim, dude. No offense, man. But the bangs, was not feeling the bangs.
Yeah, definitely not my hairstyle. Granted, I've had the same haircut for like 20 years. So I don't really know much about
I'm one to
this.
talk. I have the ponytail. I'm probably going to look back on it and regret it. But yeah, no offense, Tim. I love you, bro. But yeah, that was a very interesting hairstyle. But hey,
when you're sponsored by a hair salon chain, you do whatever they tell you. You know,
if you think we're ripping on him bad, Terry Bradshaw ripping on him before the photo shoot, that was worse. Because think about this: you're the team owner talking smack about the haircut that the company sponsoring your team specifically wanted on the driver for this photo shoot. Like, I think you shouldn't be on camera saying that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Terry Bradshaw's kind of a no filter guy, though. It's just kind of the way that he is. If you know him from his years in broadcasting, you broadcasting the NFL and now being on the panel for Fox and everything. Yeah. He just, you know, he gives it to people. So, you know, that's just how he is.
Hey, you know what? That's what makes him such a good reality show star too.
But since the driver looks good, we have to check on the car. And at the next race, Fitz-Bradshaw number 12 is going to have a new paint scheme, James. Now, this is really cool because we get to see how a paint scheme and partnership comes together, which is something that a lot of people don't know about. But this week they're honoring the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, which is located in Memphis, Tennessee. And St. Jude's is a pediatric treatment and research facility focused on children's catastrophic diseases, particularly leukemia and other cancers. So they do a lot of work for children's, for sick kids. So.
Yep, non-for-profit. And you know what? In lieu of sponsorship, sometimes you don't have a primary for a weekend. What do? You donate that space to a charitable cause, and you make it an initiative for your team. So it's all good PR, and you kind of see that during the episode with them unveiling the car. I think the coolest part, though, is we get a little cameo from Sam Bass. Sam Bass, the legendary designer, was behind this kind of collaboration, which it looks cool. I mean, the car is very minimal. It's on point for the brand of Fitz-Bradshaw Racing. But it's kind of funny how the activation came together because Tim Fedewa actually practiced a plain white car, though they unveiled the car at a news outlet days before the race. The primary car wasn't wrapped until like the day after practice or the night after practice for a PR unveiling the morning of the race. So it's kind of interesting how that all came together, but still, it's pretty cool. All for a great cause. And they even had a special guest on track at the track. His name was Griffin. Cool little kid. He was discharged from the hospital, and he was highlighted during the episode. So provided a little good luck charm too, because Tim Fedewa had a really great qualifying run. Him rubbing that fender, probably getting it nice and low out the air. You know what I mean?
Worth a couple tenths for sure.
Oh yeah. So Fedewa, man, he's starting fourth. What do you think? What do you think, Mark? You think Fedewa's going to get another top five here? You think he's got it for Bradshaw?
Well, having the
foresight,
the gift of hindsight, I know for a fact that he does not do very well this whole season. Actually,
sorry, Tim.
So Tim starts fourth, but he has a tight race car, drops back. His teammate David Stremme, he almost backs in the turn 4 wall, but he saved the car. Number 40 car blows an engine. So it's Fitz-Bradshaw's not having a great day.
Yeah, he's got 2 bullets.
They still got 2 bullets in the chamber, man. They're good to go. They've got the 12 and the 14.
It's been an up and down day so far, though, but they're still in it.
2 top 10s. There's still time. But then David Stremme made contact with Tim Fedewa, and the teammates take each other out.
That's some reality show drama right there. And come on, that's the cardinal rule. The one person you don't hit is your teammate.
Yeah.
I like that explanation, though, that Stremme was like kind of fed up with him. And I get it. I get Armando saying like, oh, man, Tim should have let him go. Hey, man, hindsight's 2020. You can say anything you want after the fact. What happened was what happened. It shouldn't have happened. But, man, that's just a bummer for that. So, I mean, it's kind of what Mimi Fitz kind of was saying. Like, who do you really blame? Because, like, for them, it's really hard to put blame on anything. It's more or less you kind of have to just grow and move on from the event.
Yeah, and I think that I kind of agree that maybe Tim should have just moved because, like, it's clear to me, honestly, throughout this whole season that the 14 car is their number 1 car. Obviously, that's the car they want to see do well with the Navy sponsorship with David Stremme, who's going to Cup the next year with Ganassi. He's basically on loan to them from Ganassi. So that's the team that Chip wants to see do well, obviously, right? So, but yeah, it was one of those racing deals. It's just one of those racing deals. It happens, right?
It's just so unfortunate that it had to happen at that point where like the 40's out, now they're both out. And it's just the whole weekend's destroyed. But there was a positive note for that Fitz-Bradshaw racing team. The truck driver, Jack Mellon, he painted about like 60 eggs for the team. Now my question is, did Jack really paint those eggs? Because it was Easter weekend, and I guess they got a little festive, so it's kind of a nice touch.
No. Truck driver just has time on his hands, paint some eggs. Why not?
Well, truck driver is normally the cook in the NASCAR paddock, so
it's true.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool, but yeah, it kind of ended a little more on a positive note. But it does end on that cliffhanger of like, oh no, what's going to happen between the 2 teammates? And you kind of see that, reality show drama of like the crew member like yelling at the cameraman to get out.
I did like the hype of the Navy team's pit crew. The one guy
Oh
Oh, he
yeah.
was hyped up when they had that one stop. My
Well, I
God.
mean, I feel like they were going somewhere because they started kind of in the back, and then they had that the spin, and Stremme seemed like he was definitely on pace to have a good top 10, if not top 5 run. But yeah, his Tim didn't have the pace, man. He definitely was tight and should have let Stremme go probably. But hey, man, it's a good race though. Good race for another team called Braun Racing. That's right, the other team on this episode. Mark, Braun Racing's my favorite team, man. I
I
always
miss
love
Braun
Braun.
Racing every day.
Yeah.
They were the last
RIP.
powerhouse Busch Series team.
And it's crazy too, because this is like not really in its infancy, but definitely the first year of like the 32 car as we know it from our like prime years. Because like, when they first started out, they were always kind of the satellite team. They still are at this time, where they have like support from another bigger organization, like a cup team that comes and provides some kind of technical alliance. At this point, it's DEI, and I feel like is it engines, or is it engines and chassis?
I think it was just engines, and before that, they were with Ganassi. Before that,
Exactly.
so
Yeah, they had Stremme the year before, which is probably why they got on the show. And they're
exactly,
still
yeah,
on the show.
yeah.
And as well as Armando's team, which is funny if you think about for Stremme. But yeah, so you know, highlighting again the week before, we're at Atlanta. Shane Meals behind the wheel of the number 32 Wind Fuel Trim Spa Chevrolet. God, those products were probably so bad for your body.
They still sell trim spot. You can still buy it.
Trim Spa, baby. Oh my god, this isn't a fat burner.
It was Anna Nicole Smith was their spokesperson.
It's a fat burner, right?
Yes,
It wasn't like the dude from Jersey Shore their spokesperson recently.
probably.
The
I
buff dude.
just see it at Walmart sometimes when I'm like in the States.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
it's
oh my
definitely a
God.
Walmart product.
Yeah.
I mean, or a GNC product would
Yeah.
well, yeah. But Shane Meal, he had one fast hot rod. I feel like this is the popular word for the team to use to describe their car, hot rod. But he had a really fast car. He even led 10 laps during the Busch race at Atlanta. Unfortunately, on lap 67, he would spin, make contact with the wall, and destroy his race car. His race would be done. He'd finish 39th. Shane also was going to run the Cup race, and he did. And it was going to be Braun Racing's debut in the Cup Series. Unfortunately, that debut lasted less than a lap when Shane Meal was caught up in the big one. Mark, I still have not gotten over that wreck as a Jeff Gordon fan. I'm really upset still.
Yeah, I
Not even
feel
a
like
lap.
that was the beginning of his downfall in 05, honestly.
Yeah, because like, well, you still had the momentum of the Daytona 500 when you're like, yeah, he won Daytona 500, so good. But like, you go to Atlanta and it's a 1.5 mile track that's going to matter, and that happens. Yeah, that was like wind out of the sails, and
That's a
things
great
never picked up.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon got caught up in that wreck too, my guy.
So many good
also
people. Mike
like
Bliss was in that too.
and that's the race that Carl Edwards beat Jimmy Johnson to the line. That's an awesome race.
Yeah,
go
he
watch
won
that
both
one.
races that weekend. First
2005.
Busch race, first Cup win. That's a barn burner. I know NASCAR re-uploaded that race too, the Cup race. So yeah, I'd check out both of those races. It was good.
And that car Shane drives, that 08 Braun Racing car, that car is in NASCAR 06.
Yeah, it is.
Game.
They had big plans with Shane in that car. I think they had like a Bill Davis Racing alliance with that. Technically, I'm not 100% sure on that, but it was a Dodge. It wasn't a Chevy. That they.
No, it was a Chevy.
It was. Oh, I thought it was a Dodge.
I'm fairly certain it was a Chevy. We can
double check that one.
Double check that one.
Because I feel like for Atlanta it was a Dodge.
It was indeed a Chevrolet.
Was a Chevy?
It was listed as a Chevy on the entry list.
But yeah, so Shane obviously had that connection with his dad at DEI, which helped prosper the whole fact that Shane was able to get some nice motors, make some Cup start, get some Cup experience, and Braun Racing was looking to be that next team to go from a Busch Series organization, graduate up to the Cup Series. And Todd Braun definitely had some plans. He actually made a little cameo in this episode, which was awesome. But the dude, like a stuntman for Guy Fieri, and why I say stuntman is because he can go through fire because he didn't have a goatee, so it wouldn't get burned off. It would be perfect. But Shane also did triple duty, so he did compete in the Truck Series race on Friday. Ran with Billy Ballou in the 15. Unfortunately, he had some issues and just DNF'd in that one. So That's a par for the course, man. It's not cool.
Yeah, that's 3 days, 3 DNFs. That's not what I would call a fun weekend.
No, and you got two wadded up race cars too in it, so it's a bummer. And Shane's bummed, and he's still got to go about his week, man. So on Monday we catch up with him. He's at Speed Channel. He's at Speed headquarters, and he's checking out broadcasts, and he's going to be on one. It's going to be Inside Next Hill Cup. Man, I love that show. And this was back when it was the panel with Alan Bestwick hosting, and then you had Michael Waltrip, Kenny Schrader, and Johnny Benson there giving their pieces. And this is actually kind of nice because it was cool that Shane spoke about how it was therapeutic for him to be there and just, kick back and relax and chill out with everybody, because he was really dreading the experience before. But it's nice that he got something out of it.
Yeah, and then, it's nice you grew, right? Like, you're in the series for a while. You don't like doing interviews. Eventually you do so many of them. You start to relax and just have a good time with it and look forward to doing these things. Because a show like that is so informal, and you're just going to chat about NASCAR, right? And, it's something that's, who doesn't want to just kick back and talk about NASCAR, And he brings great insight because he ran all 3 races. So
yeah, and it's like those guys, they were just kicking back and just, shooting the breeze, like they mentioned one of those 6 saves that he does in the truck race, and it's cutting loose, and it's not like so tense and serious like normal PR stuff is. So it's kind of nice.
Back at the Braun shop, crew is working hard. They're going to get that wrecked Atlanta car to be the primary for Nashville. Now, why don't they just use another car? Well, James, chassis number 6 is their favorite chassis, and it's the best car that they have. So they're going to put the necessary hours in to get that car repaired for Nashville. We get to see them rebuild, paint. That's right. They used to actually paint the cars, decal, tune the engine, everything. Now you just throw a wrap on. Back then they had to paint the whole paint scheme on and then put the decals on. So it was a lot longer process.
Some teams like to paint the car still. I guess it's preference, but you can see where there is areas where the paint kind of is there, but then the decal comes in towards the bottom, and it kind of all works out. So it's kind of a cool process, when you see the car in the paint booth, and then the suspension guys go in and they put the whole front end on the car, sitting in the paint booth still drying. It's crazy how they're orchestrating this and all working together while the car is almost in different stages of the rebuild process.
We even see how teams kind of they adjust their apparel to fit their working environment. The engine tuner came to the shop wearing his Aaron shirt. So, not representing Wind Fuel or Trim Spa, but, he probably had to go to a bunch of different shops and tune engines that day. So, might have just come from Michael Waltrip's shop,
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was in the ECR family there. But hey, you know what? When you're in these grounds, it better be saying Wind Fuel on your shirt and Trim Spa, baby, or else you're getting the boot. So that was kind of some funny hazing there. Wind Spa, baby. Wind Spa. It's not Trim Spa, it's Wind Spa, because when you win, you're trim. But we head to the track. Great turnaround by the crew. Fantastic job. Amazing. I can't believe they got that. First off, left side of the car was gone. They got that put back on, knew everything. And this is, in a time when you have to hand make all these pieces. That side of that car isn't there. You have to hand roll everything so it's nice and smooth. And they did a great job with it. Get it to the track, and it's fast again. In their words, it's a fast hot rod. So it really proved that the time to repair the car was definitely worth it, because like Mark said, it was their favorite car in the stable, and it's definitely Shane's favorite car. So you could say that it's fast because they put the time in to repair it, or you could say it's fast because Shane's mom put a little lucky pig in there and gave all the crew members lucky pigs for good luck charms. Or third option, you could say Shane was really fast because Dale Jr. also gave him some tips about going around Nashville Super Speedway. Because Mark, there's anyone you want to trust to give you advice about Nashville Super Speedway, it's a Cup driver who's probably driven thousands of miles at Nashville Super Speedway. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Done 8 million laps testing there. So
simulated 500-mile races. Let's go.
With pit stops and everything. Yeah, the funny thing, so it's Easter weekend, and she gives them lucky pigs. It's literally the perfect opportunity to give a lucky rabbit's foot. But you know what? Whatever. I digress.
Hey man, he doesn't go by some lady who sells lucky rabbit's foots in the mountain regions. She sells lucky pigs. Okay, jeez.
Well,
But
either way, James, Shane Spencer
opportunity missed.
He does all right. Starts in seventh, works his way into the top five, runs top five all day, gets a top five finish, third place. That's the team's third top five in the first 6 races of the season. Now, granted, the other 3 finishes I believe were like wrecks, but 3 top fives.
It shows it's like he's either like hit or miss, because like this was also tying the team's season best finish, which was third. So it showed that the team was really on pace. And not only that, but like at these mile and a halves, they really had a strong notebook, especially with this car, chassis number 6, because this was probably the car they took to almost every single mile and a half track they would go to. So kudos to them. Great turnaround, great effort. And, the positive side of the episode definitely was Braun Racing, Shane Meal, and everything that they had to fight through to get the car ready, and just how it came out good. So, and also
You
Shane
notice
was
that
good.
throughout watching this series that the Braun Racing storylines are always better.
Because Braun Racing's the best, because they're not trying to like sell it for the TV. No offense to Fitz-Bradshaw, but they're definitely trying to sell whatever's going on, and like Braun's like a little more raw and gritty, and you can appreciate that. Also, they're a single car team. I think that's better storyline.
Yeah, it's easier to. You don't have to be like, well, this car finished here and this car finished here. It's just one car. So,
and the dumb politics between the cars, just because
yeah,
to the point, like Fitz-Bradshaw has a technical alliance with Chip Ganassi Racing, and they have David Stremme on loan, and they also have Sterling Marlin on loan. So it's like there's politics there, and it's like all this other stuff to follow, where it's like Shane Meal's a wheel man, and he don't apologize for anything, and you can just like him for that. So yeah, really great episode. I enjoyed this, Mark. I don't know if there's anything else I could say that I learned from this episode. I don't know. What did you learn?
I like this episode a lot. I just loved going back and watching the show, because I remember watching it when I was like 14. I remember actually watching this on Monday nights and really looking forward to it. I think it was on at like 10 o'clock. So it was on pretty late. But I remember watching it. My wife was telling me that her dad used to watch it with her, and then they would watch Monday Night Raw. It was like
Raw
a tradition
is war. Yeah, that's right.
Raw is Jericho. Thank you.
Yeah, because this is back when Jericho probably had his little talk show thing before he whatever. Yeah, I used to be big in the storylines then.
We support Chris Jericho in this house, fellow Canadians. But yeah, good. It was a fun show. It was. This one's really interesting because I got the cool thing about the Atlanta with the car swap, and we kind of just gave you like a chronological kind of rundown of the episode and how it went. It was good. It was fun. It's worth watching. Go on YouTube and watch it. These are really cool ways to see that behind the scenes stuff from back then. And this is my favorite era of NASCAR. So I'm obviously going to love everything from this era, just like, selfishly. So.
Yeah, I mean, you heard us talking about it, so why don't you just go watch it, get some more context? It's really cool to see exactly what we're talking about. Because to be quite honest, you need to see Tim Fedewa's hair to believe what we're saying, all right? I'm not kidding. If you put some gel in that hair and spiked it up, he would look like the guy from My New Haircut, Mark. Straight up. That's how...
boys are coming out. They got the same haircut.
Not now, Chief. I'm in the zone, all right? So that's... it's worth watching for that. Mark, how are you going to
viral videos from 15 years ago?
See, that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to be a jerk to Tim Fedewa, and I don't even think anybody cares about bringing this up, but it's like, would Tim Fedewa really want to rehash the past?
And now he's Kevin Harvick's spotter.
It's funny, too, because he was a spotter before this. He was Kerry's spotter at Fitz-Bradshaw, and then he got the driving day.
Yep. They let go Kerry Bradshaw, partway through 03? Yeah, and then he got the ride. So.
Yep. It's kind of funny how that works. So how would you rate this though?
I would give it I would give it a 7 only because the Braun Racing kind of brings it back up. I don't really care about the Fitz-Bradshaw stuff. They're just not super interesting. So it would be like a 5. But the Braun brings it back. I'd give it like a 7. It's worth watching. It's like a B. It's like a B. It's good. It's decent. Give it a watch.
The Braun stuff, if it was just that, I'd say it was like 8.5. Just because it's so cool to see what adversity teams go through and how they fight through and overcome that. And, in NASCAR, people just don't understand how much these cars are crafted. It's not just something you order some parts and you bolt it on, you're good to go. This was an era where we saw people making specific parts. Like you hired a guy because he made something so well. He was such a great fabricator, you know, so to kind of see that at work, I appreciated it. So I'd give that like an 8.5. And the Bradshaw stuff, like I did dig the marketing stuff. So it was nice. Though Terry Bradshaw was a jerk. No offense. Like just locker room boys talk. If he has no filter, let me have no filter on him for that. Man, he brought down the vibes a lot. I'd give it a 7. So we're both on 7, blazing 7.
Right around there.
Right around 7.
So not bad.
Not bad.
You know,
Definitely.
we're gonna watch another one for the second part of this episode.
Oh yeah, but if you're a feminist, don't watch the parts with Terry Bradshaw. Just saying.
Yeah.
But watch the parts of Shane Meal because they're awesome. Yeah, this episode was good. I'd recommend it. It was like what, 20 minutes?
22 minutes long.
Yeah, sprinkle in that 8 minutes for commercials. I mean,
damn straight.
That's great.
Gotta pay some bills.
And then next thing you know, I was gonna say next thing you know, and then you're watching that playlist and you're watching all the episodes.
That's
of
right.
NBS 24/7.
There's only like 6 episodes on YouTube. Unfortunately,
yeah, and there's only a few from 2005, and that's the sad part. Like, there's no more context. You're truly left on cliffhangers because there's no like carryover episodes. So
we mentioned paying bills, and we got to pay our bills. So thanks to our partners at Blue Emu for helping us out. You know, being with us. And like I said, follow Blue Emu on social media at Blue Emu1 on Instagram and Twitter. James got to interview Rusty Wallace and do some cool stuff with Rusty Wallace. So go check that piece out. It's retweeted on our Twitter. You can find it. Find Blue Emu through there. Go to our Twitter, follow us, and then go follow Blue.
Yeah, and check that out. And don't forget to tune in to the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500. That's right, Martinsville race that has pain relief. It's kind of funny, Mark. I always feel like that race gets like that kind of sponsorship all the time. You know what I mean? Like, remember back in the day, it was like Goodies, headache powder, headache relief. Now we got maximum pain relief for muscles and joints as a sponsor.
Man, 500 miles of banging into each other.
Dude, it's a physical track, man. You need some kind of pain relief for that track. So, yeah, that's a funny plug. I think it works perfectly. So yeah. Go check out that content.
I'm proud of us.
we're proud of ourselves. We made it through. But that's going to do it for this week. Join us for part 2, and we'll rehash another episode of NBS 24/7. But for this episode, I'm James. That's Mark. Be safe. And, we love you. So have a great one.